Jake Busey, and you're listening to Perspectives with Ashley Berges.
Is there something impacting your relationship? Even though the years when your kids are small is a beautiful time of life filled with magical moments, it can also be a time when couples struggle to stay connected. After all, your kids need a lot of your time, but so does your business or your career. And making time for self-care is hard, so your health and well-being suffers. And date night? Well, that seems like a distant dream. So instead of days filled with loving connection, there are moments of tension, stress, and worry. But what if there was help to get you through these years? A solution built with young parents in mind. One with no difficult concepts to master. One that's fun and gives immediate results. And fits seamlessly into your schedule no matter how busy you get. A solution to make sure you stay connected. We're offering you support to keep your connection strong. The Connection app for couples. Click the link below to learn more. We're making together better so your moments stay magical.
Welcome back, friends. Ashley Berges here on our live discussion today. And today we're going to be talking about boundaries, but we're going to be talking more about self-sabotaging behavior and what it is, how to recognize it, and how to begin to put a stop to this stuff. You know, many of us deal with this on a constant basis. We just don't realize that we are. Okay? That's the key. We don't really realize we are. We see our other friends, we see our friends, our family, and we see them going through trials and tribulations, and we can see their issues, right? We can see when a friend of ours is self-medicating, right? And it's getting in the way of their lifestyle, and it's getting in the way of them, you know, really doing well at work. Or we see a buddy of ours that's, you know, kind of fallen into alcohol addiction, and they don't seem to be able to get it together. You see what I'm saying? And so you can see it from a distance, and you're aware of it, and you're there for them, and you're supportive of it, but yet they don't really see it. And many of us are dealing with some of the same things too, as well as other things that I'm going to be talking about, because some of the things that I'm going to address today in this live talk are some things that you might not even realize are self-sabotaging behaviors. Okay, things that you might not even realize exist or really are self-sabotaging behaviors. They might have been predicated under something else. So obviously we know certain things are self-sabotaging, other things we've actually kind of grown up around them, and so we don't really think that they are self-sabotaging, but they are. So I'll be talking about the different types of self-sabotage, and then, you know, what you can do to put an end to it. I recently did a live radio show. You know, my live show is every Saturday at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Live Your True Life Perspectives. Live Your True Life Perspectives. It's on USA Radio Network on Westwood One. So what we talked about today at 1 Central Standard Time was the concept of self-sabotaging behavior, and figuring out what you stand for, and actually creating proper boundaries to not create that same behavior, to stop that behavior in its tracks. And so I can tell you, first and foremost, that I have dabbled in self-sabotaging behavior. I have wallowed in self-sabotaging behavior. I have worn self-sabotage as a coat before in my life, and I understand that. And there were times when I couldn't see it. And then there were times when I began to see it, but I didn't really want to see it. And then there were times that it was glaringly obvious, and I knew what I was doing, but I didn't want to change it, or I didn't know how to change it, right? Like I knew I needed to, but I didn't know why, or I didn't know what the reason for. And when I tried to, it just seemed so hard to change it. And then there was a time where it got so uncomfortable that I had to change it. And so, you know, coming from that perspective and being in all those different levels of self-sabotage, which I'm sure that you can declare yourself in one of those, right? Going through all of those, I can understand exactly self-sabotage. I understand how we get there. I understand how we avoid getting out of it. And then I understand how uncomfortable it gets to some degree when we're in it and we know that we're better than this. Okay, and that's one of the keys. And so I want to share a story with you, a personal story with you in our first segment here. And then I'll address some of the other keys to self-sabotaging behavior. So you understand, one, what I'm currently, where I'm at, and two, kind of different sets of self-sabotage that can actually happen in a time of even a day. And in this situation, actually was in about a period of about 45 minutes. Okay, so here we go. Last weekend, I was down in Houston for a conference, staying at a hotel. Conference was all day Saturday, 9 to 5, 9 to 6, all day Sunday, 9 to 5, 9 to 6. And I had to drive back to where I live after that. So I live in Texas, but like 4 hours away. So that Saturday evening, I had a meeting with some folks and some great folks that I met with, and it was a great meeting. But toward the end of that meeting, they wanted to continue to hang out, and they asked about going back up to my room, where I had a room at the hotel. And years ago, I would have said, yeah, it's great, everybody come up. But one, I didn't really want to entertain, and two, I really wanted to keep that as my private space, just so I could, when I go back there, all it is to, to change, to take off my makeup, to wash my face, and to just kind of chill and take a little bit of meditation, and drink my magnesium. I drink this magnesium called Calm. It's really good. And to do that and just to relax, right? And to kind of get ready for my routine. And so when they wanted to go up there, I said no. And in the past, I would have self-sabotaged myself, right? And said, yeah, come on up. Yeah, come on, no big deal. And then it would have been really late and I would have gotten frustrated, right? And I would have gotten real frustrated. And I wouldn't have shown it, but I would have kind of gotten a little angry, a little disappointed, not only at myself, but also them, and some resentment for staying up late, and basically resentment of trying to, just like trying to entertain everybody. And so this time I didn't do that, obviously, and I actually got everybody together, and I got them an Uber, and I got them to get back to where they needed to go. And we had a pleasant experience and a wonderful meeting, and it was awesome. But see, I didn't step over my boundaries, and I didn't let anybody else step over my boundaries. See, they can't step over my boundaries if I don't let them. But I have to have the wherewithal and the care about myself to not let them, right? So that was the first trial in this 45-minute trial. Okay, so I'm outside at the hotel. I'm helping them all get into the Ubers and everything else, and all the cars are pulling up, and they're all getting in. And once that's over with, I think in my head, okay, I'm going to go upstairs, and now I'm going to do the relaxation. I'm going to relax now, okay? And I turn around, and I see this couple from the same town that I'm from, that I'm in, and they're like, Ashley, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, oh my God, it's so great to see y'all. We started talking, and we go back pretty good, and so it was a good conversation. And they're like, hey, we're going out to the club. We're going out to the club. We got 5 places we're going to. I got an Uber coming right now. Jump in with us. Let's go on over there and check it out. Okay? People you like to hang out with, right? Or it's almost about 11 o'clock. Now remember, the conference is also in the morning. I had planned on working out. In order to work out, I got to be up by 6:30, right? So I can go work out, take a shower, and go to the conference. But remember, I have to pack and everything, and I have to be out of the room by 8:45 with all my luggage in my car that's in another garage, okay? And I got to go to that garage, and I got to get all the stuff in there, and I got to turn around and walk all the way to the convention center, okay? This is a lot. And so I thought about it for about 5 minutes, and I said, hey, I really appreciate y'all inviting me. And definitely would go, but I'm going to have to take a rain check. I'll see you when you get back in town. And they were all cool, gave them both a hug, and I left. And that's something that usually I wouldn't have done, right? I usually would have, gone along with the flow, right? Wanted to get in to fit in, right? So that would have been a good thing, to get in to fit in. And so that would have been something that I would have done. So then the last test in 45 minutes, the last test. I walk through the hotel and I see a bar. There's a bunch of people there. It looks like they're all having fun. I stand up there and I said, yeah, maybe I'll just have a drink. Maybe I'll have a drink. Maybe I'll just grab a drink. And the bartender looks at me and he said, little lady, give me 1 second and I'll get your order from you. And I stood there for just a second, and people were about to start talking to me at the bar, and I said, what am I doing? What am I doing? I said no to that. I said no to that. And now I'm here, about to self-sabotage my own self, okay? I left the bar, I went up to my room, I got my rest, I got up in time, I worked out, right? I got ready, I packed everything up, I got to the conference in time, made it in time, was there the entire time, and drove 4.5 hours back home. I got home at 11 o'clock. Long day. Didn't need to be out at the club. Didn't need to be out at the bar. Didn't need to be having people at the room. So what I want to talk about here is all these ways that we can self-sabotage ourselves. I could have done it in 3 ways, right? Like one of those ways would have done it, right? I had 3 opportunities. And guess what? It was nice to be able to sit back, and I didn't really recognize it at the time. It's not like I was counting down all the time, but you know what? When I look back at it the very next day, I went, holy hand grenade, Superman. Wow, you actually are starting to care about yourself in every way, shape, and form. And it has taken me a while to get here. It takes everybody a while to get here. But once you do, practice makes it easier. We're not perfect. Practice makes it easier. So stay tuned. I'll be talking about, well, exactly what self-sabotage behavior looks like, what the forms it comes in, why we do it, how to stop. Stay tuned. Myself, Ashley Berges, will be back this time. 2 shakes. Hey there, friends. I'm glad you're catching the live broadcast of Live Your True Life Perspectives. I've created my very own Patreon page. You can go to Patreon and you can check out my page. The link is right here. It's an amazing platform because I'm able to offer more stuff there, different stuff than I am on the Live Your True Life program, as well as on my YouTube channel. You've probably seen my YouTube channel. We put up new video content every week. And we have a lot of great content on there. But on the Patreon page, I'm able to go a step further. I'm offering group coaching sessions, private coaching sessions, as well as access to exclusive content, like the Celebrity Perspective, Season 1. I won a Telly Award for that this year. You can watch all episodes right here on Patreon. I'm offering you the exclusive chance to come on the radio with me, to be live on Live Your True Life Perspectives, nationally syndicated radio show, to talk about yourself, to talk about your amazing life, and to inspire the Live Your True Life listeners. When you become a member of my Patreon page, you are directly supporting me to help other people to live their true life. I look forward to seeing you on Patreon. Let's inspire one another. Are you currently in a toxic relationship and unsure what the next day will bring? Have you often wondered if there's more to life than this? Do you suffer from self-esteem issues that you've had since you were a young child? Have issues or have difficulty speaking with your family? Do you feel surrounded by self-centered people? Seems as though you're always giving and they're always taking. If you've answered yes to any of these questions, you need some answers. The 10-day challenge to live your true life gives you the knowledge and techniques for creating boundaries in your life that help us to deal with family, as well as dealing with those narcissistic and toxic people in your life. It offers the insight into understanding and overcoming your self-esteem issues, and to begin to see for the first time your amazing value. You owe it to yourself to find the power within you. Welcome back, guys. Ashley Berges here on the live discussion, discussing self-sabotaging behavior, the forms that it comes in, how to understand why we do it, and how to start not doing it. Right before the break, I've been talking about my own personal journey and what happened last weekend in a series of about 45 minutes, how I literally could have self-sabotaged myself one time and then I didn't do it. And then had the opportunity of self-sabotaging myself again and chose not to. And then on the 3rd and final test that night, I actually passed with flying colors, went back to my room, called it a night. Felt great waking up, got much done that next day, really was there, was on point, was very aware and I did what I needed to do, met the people I needed to meet and was there. And I got home safely and sound, the whole drive back. And I actually felt great when I got home. I didn't feel beaten up. I was able to take out Buddy, my puppy, and we were all good to go. So I've passed the test. So let's talk about self-sabotaging behavior and all the forms that it comes in. It's easier for us to see other people doing it than it is ourselves. So a lot of times we have friends that self-medicate, right? And some of us self-medicate, right? That is a form of self-sabotage. What about self-injury? Many of us injure ourselves. We hurt ourselves, whether it's intentional or whether it's subconscious. One of the examples that I have is the concept of, really pushing yourself too far. You know, when we try to push ourselves physically too far, what happens? And sometimes we go to the gym, we haven't been to the gym in a year, and you go in there for 4 hours and go crazy, and then you get hurt, and then you're down for the count for 6 weeks, right? Not good, but we actually did that to ourselves, knowing that we needed to be in there for 30 minutes, not 6 hours, whatever, and we really hurt ourselves, right? Drugs and alcohol, obviously, that's an obvious. Those are obvious. We use those to escape, right? It's self-sabotaging behavior, because the problem with drugs and alcohol is that the problem is still there when we wake up. And the problem is that it's worse. That's the biggest issue. The biggest issue is that now the situation has gotten worse. And then what do? We want to escape because the situation is not what we want, right? We don't want to be like, oh my God, I'm behind on this and I'm behind on that and I haven't taken care of this and I haven't taken care of that. Oh my God. And you go, God, I got to have a drink, or God, I got to do this. And it just keeps getting so far and far down the road that the ability to make things right, it's going to take months to get back into where we need to go. And so if you are dealing with drugs or alcohol dependency and using that for an escape, definitely, thinking about, a treatment center or going to rehab or trying to work within a sober living home, sober living facility is a good idea, because we got to get over that first. Life is difficult, but it gets real difficult when we add drugs or alcohol into the mix, because we're unable to see things clearly. One of the toughest things to deal with in life is to see who we're supposed to hang out with and who we're not. The toughest things is to understand those nuances that we can't understand if we're not on top of our game. You know what I mean? And I've been there where you're just like, you're having fun or you're doing whatever you're doing and you're just not seeing clear enough. And you're not getting where you need to be and you're not forming that success in your life. Okay, so obviously we know that drugs and alcohol, those types of things are obviously self-sabotaging behavior. But did you know procrastination is one? Did you know that perfectionism is one? Did you know that those two are some of the biggest self-sabotaging behaviors we can have? I have several clients that are going through the procrastination stage, and they go, why? And I said, well, I'd like to ask you why. Because what's happening here is subconsciously, right? So let's just jump into this. Subconsciously, there's a reason why we're doing this. We have a thought process that's running through our head that says that we're not valuable enough, we're not good enough, we're not successful enough, we're not going to ever be successful enough, this is never going to happen for me. And it's interesting how, because of these thoughts in our head, we use this self-sabotaging behavior and we go back through those cycles. And many of us have experienced this cycle for a very long time. And some of us experience it when we get up, like we get to a certain level of success, whether it's when a relationship success, maybe you meet somebody and things are working out and you do your best to sabotage the relationship. And it's a good one. Perhaps you got a job and you're really happy about it and it's more of a career. And you're really, really, really happy about it. But every time you have a big presentation, the next morning, you go out and party with your friends. And it's like you're literally taking the wind out of your sail every time. I caught myself doing that one time in the past, and I'm going to be talking about that in a video that comes out. You'll have to watch it. It's a video about self-sabotaging behavior. I don't want to spoil it. But I was working on a big project, and I finally got to the fruition of it. And one of the days, I basically almost screwed myself. Right? And I think a lot of it is that fear of success. Fear of failure. It's the same thing. And I think that gets us into the modus operandi where we will sabotage ourselves, especially when we're about to do something very cool. And that's what I've seen about myself is that, yes, are other people out there? Can other people sabotage us? Yes. But only when we let them. And yes, there are some people out there that want to do us harm. Okay, and there are some people out there that if given the chance, if you're in a career, they might fire you for nothing. If you're a friend of theirs, they could use you and manipulate you. Yes, those things are in it's their own vacuum, right? It has nothing to do with us. And in those situations, it's not fun and it's not right. And they do not deserve the right to be able to do that, but they can do that sometimes. But I'm talking about the prevention of what we can prevent, right? And we can prevent being aware also of those types of people. We can be aware of the narcissists that we're hanging out with. We can be aware of the people in the workplace that do not have our best at heart. Okay? We can be aware of people that don't seem to have feelings or emotions and want to use our feelings and emotions against us. But in order to be aware, we have to be aware of our self-sabotaging behavior, because that can be a tendency for us to hang out with these people and find them as friends. Okay. The last thing that I want to touch on in our self-sabotaging behavior in this video, before we get into talking about exactly why we're doing what we're doing, is relationships. Relationships, the people we choose, our love interest, our romantic interest, the people that you're having sex with, whatever, that is a direct correlation to our self-sabotaging behavior. What type of person are you choosing to be with? What type of person are you choosing to live with? Okay? Because usually self-sabotaging behavior is about a choice or an item or a thing. It's not about a person. And I want you to think about that. Because we have to be super wise to find a person. Many of you have already done this. I don't mean super wise. Sorry, I take that back. We have to be super smart. Not wise, smart. The smarter you are, the more you defer your self-sabotaging to something outside of you. Right? As a person. So you have this person in your life and you have to be a savior to them, or you feel like you're the victim or whatever it is, and you have that, and you're able to look at that person and be like, God, that's the downfall of my life, but I can't leave them, and I really love them, but God, our relationship is so toxic. Oh, God, I know it's toxic. Right? But we look at them and we go, but it's because they're not taking responsibility. It's because they're not getting medicated. It's because they're not treated. They're not being treated. They're not seeing a psychologist. They're not seeing a life coach. They're not seeing a therapist. But it really does come back to us. Because even though that person might have a million issues, and we think that we can help them in all their issues and take care of them, is that true? And when we're trying to take care of them, we lose ourselves in them. Again, another way of self-sabotage. When I return, I'm going to be talking about a little bit about why we do it and how to begin to make some changes in our life. I'll also be taking some questions here later on here in the broadcast in our live discussion. So I look forward to getting some questions. I won't be able to answer all of them today, but I definitely want to get to as many as possible. And I'm hoping that you'll ask some great questions, and I really appreciate you tuning in. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Go on and subscribe here. We really appreciate it. It makes us feel good. It makes us know that we're on point. We're creating content to educate and to empower, and so that's powerful. Also, give us a like as well, and look forward to hear that too. And any on the super chat too. We appreciate any donations as well, because that's helpful in our plight to get as much video content out as possible. So we appreciate that too. Thank you ahead of time, and we'll be right back talking about whys and how to stop it. Ashley Burgess will be back this time. 2 shakes.
Hi, my name is Reginald Harvey, and I'm a wellness champion. I just published the medical memoir Anatomy of a Patient to inspire those affected directly or indirectly by a life-threatening diagnosis. Do you know or have a family member or dear friend who is suffering from catastrophic illness or debilitating disability? This is a conversation that few people are willing to have, and I want to have it with you. You can hear me on Live Your True Life Perspectives with Ashley Burgess. For more information, go to reggieharvey.net.
You can't miss the newest show, The Artist Perspective, sponsored by Art for Your Cause. To learn more about Art for Your Cause, go to artforyourcause.com. Art for Your Cause helps artists and charities by bringing artists and their work and charities together to be able to raise money for your favorite charities while still paying the artists for their work. To learn more about The Artist Perspective, go to theartistperspective.tv and watch our first episode featuring world-renowned photographer Jeremy Locke. Hi there, friends. Ashley Burgess back here on our live discussion. It's all about perspectives, really. It's all about perspective. We're talking about self-sabotaging behavior. We're talking about, the various forms of self-sabotage. And right now I want to talk about the whys and how to stop. So why do we do it? Well, we do it because of those voices in our head that tell us that we're not good enough or we're never going to be good enough. And these thoughts of, why do we try? And why are we trying to do this? And what makes us, think we can do this? And all this goes back to is, and I've done some shows on this already. I've done some live shows on it about that negative broken record. I've gone back to the historical record, the family dynamic, right? That helps co-create this stuff. See, that's the key, is that when we're young and we learn, one, from what people tell us about ourselves or who we are or how they feel about us, good, bad, or indifferent. We also learn in the dynamic when it's an unhealthy family dynamic, but also we learn from what mom and dad think about themselves. So if mom feels that she is unable to do what she wants, if mom feels that she is tied down and that the world is against her, if mom feels like her, that her career, that she hasn't had, like a good, that she hasn't been given the opportunities, or she won't be given the opportunity, we begin to feel the same way. Whether that's right or wrong, that's what we begin to feel. If dad feels like he's never gotten a good shake on things, like, if he feels like he's had to fight for everything, and that can very much feel that way, we may ingest in our life that in order to get anything, we have to fight for it. We got to fight. And so those thoughts stay in our head. Also the negative thoughts about how we're not good enough, or somebody made fun of us, or somebody told us that, who are we egotistical to think that we can do something or create this or make this a reality. All these different things. Right? And I want you to really think about that, because this directly relates to our life. And those things get in our subconscious and stay there for a very long time. And those are the things that get us to do what? To sabotage ourselves. Because I found that there's people out there that can be really gnarly, very negative, very manipulative, very controlling, very malignant, very, very not the people that you want to spend time with, that can hurt you in business and work. It can happen. Yes, it can. But I found that we actually sabotage ourselves more than the outside group, right? We have the chance of sabotaging ourselves more than the outside group, and we do it more often than we really think we do. Like, think about it. I was given 3 chances in 45 minutes. And I know a time in my past where I would have failed on the first one, and then I wouldn't even gotten the opportunities on the other ones, because I would have already failed on the first one. Because I wouldn't have seen the value of where I was. I wouldn't have seen the value of the conference I was at. I wouldn't have seen the value of me being there aware. I wouldn't have seen the value of me even going, because I wouldn't feel like it would matter to me anyway. Right? And that's the key. So what we do, why we do it, is based on that negative broken record. It's based on that low self-esteem. It's based on that feeling of inability to attain what we want to attain. It's also based on that ability. Many of us feel beaten down. Many of us were raised to believe that we might not get as far as we want, that we just need to work a regular job and just do it and go through the motions, because that's as best as it's going to get. And so if you're feeling this is the best it's ever going to get, and this is all I'm ever going to get, the idea of working harder is really not something you want to do. But also the idea that you can't get any more is something you would want to escape from. Right? Why would I want to live in this world where I see all these people on TV having this amazing life and I can't freaking have it? I'm going to escape with something. Right? Because, why can't I have it? Or why can't I create that in my life? And so if we believe that we're limited, or we're not good enough, or the world's not going to love what we create, or they're not going to be accepting, or they're not going to be open arms with us, then we medicate, or we do those types of things to avoid that feeling, to try to fill that empty feeling, to try to escape. We might even escape through a relationship. I don't have time to focus on my own problems. I got to focus on her problems, or I got to focus on his problems. My God, he's got so many, or she's got so many, and she's not getting medicated, and she's not getting help. I don't know what to do. What do? I got to read all these self-help books about what she has, what he has. And it's good to understand what you're dealing with. But there comes a time where that's a big distraction too. That's self-sabotaging behavior itself. Distract yourself from your own life and get stuck into their life and trying to fix them when they don't even want to be fixed. They don't even know they need to be fixed. That's the caveat. They think you need to be fixed. It's amazing what we get ourselves into. But a lot of it's just fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of being inadequate, fear of just everything, and also feeling overwhelmed. Okay, so that's why it happens. That's why we do it. So how do we stop? How do we stop? How do we stop the self-sabotaging behavior? Well, the only way you can stop it is to actually acknowledge the fact that you're doing it. And that's the biggest takeaway that I want you to take away from this video right now, is that you have to know you're doing it. You have to be cognitive enough. You have to be aware enough. You have to be mindful enough to know that you're doing it. And it was interesting. I didn't see the 3 in the 45-minute situation that happened until the next day when I drove home that night. I woke up that morning. I, did my morning routine. I, took the dog out, came back, and I was having my espresso. And guess what? It hit me. And what hit me was so cool about that is I realized how far I've come. Now, I've worked really hard to get here. So the first thing that I had to do was become super mindful of all of my actions and choices. That's number 1. So write this down. If you have a journal and you're writing in a journal that you keep private, hopefully, that people aren't reading about it. 1, check my actions and choices. What am I choosing for myself and what am I acting on? What am I choosing for myself and what am I acting on? Okay, 2 things. Choices, actions. And it's not a small thing to do. It's actually, you're having to watch every single choice and every single action you do in an entire day and night. Seriously. Why did I choose to eat that if I know that it's going to make me sick? Right? Why did I choose to drink that if I know it's going to make me feel flushed and give me a headache? Why did I choose to stay on that phone call when I know that they're on phone calls for 3 hours and I was going to be exhausted and my face was going to be hot because I didn't have my headset? Why did I choose that? Why did I choose that? It can be very small things. Why did I choose to leave the office so late to go to that meeting when I know that I would be rushing and fighting to get through traffic, to be stressed out to get there? You see the small things? Now let's go to the big things. Why did I choose to drink a case of beer? Why did I choose to, gamble that money away that I needed to pay rent? Right? Why did I choose to drink all that, get behind the wheel and drive and run into something or get arrested? Right? For a DWI. All these things, big or small, all self-sabotaging behavior. But some of them are very small. Like I said, why did I drink that? Like I have stomach issues that I'm dealing with, right? Dealing with it. Trying to get to the bottom of it. But I can't eat and drink a lot of different things now because it makes me ill. It makes me hurt. I feel like crap the rest of the day. I don't want to feel like crap all day. And I have a lot of work to do and I have a lot of help to give people and a lot of clients to work with. I don't want to be at a low capacity working with people that know that I have their best at heart. I want to be able to give them 100%. Right? And so every time now when I'm thinking, like the other day, George and I were at this coffee place. Actually, it was yesterday. We were at this coffee place and we went by the coffee place, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're at this coffee place and he's like, yeah, I want a coffee, whatever. And so I asked him, I was like, well, I can't see, coffee is like, I can do this espresso, but I can't do the coffee. I can only do 1 espresso, and that's it. It's a long story. But I was like, maybe I'll have a chai. I haven't had a chai in a while, and I felt kind of bad about even thinking about the chai, even though I like the chai. And I said, well, as long as they have the fat-free milk, I can do it, because I can't do whole milk. It just makes me feel ill. And I was like, well, you have fat-free milk? No, we have soy, we have almond, we have grain or something. I don't know, oat, right? Oat, and then vitamin D, whole milk. Hell no, no. And there was a moment for that 1 second where I said, well, maybe just a little bit. No, I'm going to feel like crap. Okay, you see those little small self-sabotaging behaviors. It's like many of you go out to dinner with folks and you're hanging out with people and you can't drink wine because it gives you a headache, right? So you choose not to. You like it, but you can't. and you sit down there with all the girls and they're all hanging out, and guess what? They're all getting wine, and they're like, come on, get a glass of wine, and you get a glass of wine, and instantaneously you have a headache, instantaneously you don't feel good, instantaneously you're kind of pissed off, right? You have a little bit of resentment and anger. So what I'm saying is those are the small things, right, that build up. And I want you to think about that, because that's self-sabotaging too. Even though it's small, it still means that you're not putting your health first, your values first, you as a person first. This is important. So actions and choices, actions and choices, actions and choices. I want you to start really thinking about those and writing them down and being mindful, right? Seriously, this is powerful, because once you realize it, then you can stop it, right? And you can get real with yourself and say, why was I going to do that? Why was I going to take the chance of doing that? You know, so for me, I've always had stomach issues my entire life, okay? And it's predicated on other stuff, and I've always had it, so I can never eat fatty foods. I can never eat, I don't eat any of that. Fat foods, no butter, no oil, no greasy food, no fried food, no, I can't. And I remember a few years ago having like a bite of fried food one time, and I remember about to have the bite going, I can't believe I'm going to do it. And I did it, and I paid for it. I felt it for 7 hours. Okay? Again, another example of self-sabotaging behavior, right? I knew I was going to feel bad. I knew it was going to hurt, but I did it anyway. And so I want you to start thinking about that stuff, being hyper-aware, hyper-vigilant. And you don't have to say no to all these. It's okay to let some of these fly, but I need you to know that you're letting them fly, right? Because the more we allow to happen, the more we're showing ourselves disrespect, okay? It's all about the respect. You know how you sit there and you say, well, I want them to respect me. You know, I'm not going to talk to them unless I get respect. They need to show me respect, right? We want other people to show us respect. Well, why don't we show ourselves respect? Do you get what I'm saying? If I don't show my own self-respect, how am I going to get respect from other people? It doesn't happen. That's the key. And the only way that you show yourself respect is by not sabotaging yourself and hurting yourself, right? And so that shows other people, just from the way that you're living, that you actually care about yourself and you respect yourself. And I'm telling you, if you respect yourself, other people do. And the people that don't, screw them. Okay, that's their own deal, right? But if you respect yourself, you walk into a room glowing like a different person. People want to know what's about you. What are you about? Okay, what is that about? Because most people sabotage themselves every single day. Multiple times a day. Okay, seriously. I mean, come on, how many times in the past did you go do stuff, sabotage yourself, eat the wrong thing, drink the wrong thing, stay out all night, you know, miss the big meeting, sabotage, sabotage, sabotage. I mean, just a constant whirlwind of sabotage, right? And then you go, God, why is my life like this? Why, God? What have you done to me? I mean, you cursed me. Why? No, it's personal cursing. I mean, like we're cursing ourselves, we're hurting ourselves. So when I return, I'll be answering some questions. Questions here on self-sabotaging boundaries. I mean, if you have other questions, sure, I'll answer those too. I don't know how many we're going to get to, but we'll get as many as we can. And then also I have a new video coming out today. A new video. I like to say the word dropping now. A new video. I'm going to drop a new video. Let's drop a new video today. We're going to be doing dropping a new video here. Let's see what time. In 16 minutes. So we'll have to stop this before we drop the video. But it's about codependency and borderline personality disorder. What happens when somebody with codependency and somebody with borderline personality disorder get together in a relationship? We're going to explore that in that video. So, okay, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. See you in a second in 2 shakes. Welcome back, friends. Ashley Berges here on the live video conference discussion live stream. We've been talking about self-sabotaging behavior. We've been talking about why we do it, what we do, why we do it, and how to stop. Being aware, remember, actions and choices. When we're actually being mindful to actually recognize every action and choice that we make throughout the entire day. And that's how you slow down on the self-sabotaging behavior. And that's when you actually see how the mind really works. Okay? It's a wild deal. I went through all this, you know. I'm a recovering codependent, and I'm a recovering self-sabotaging person, you know. The only way that I can give real advice is obviously the fact that, you know, I've gone through it, and, you know, and I've done schooling for it too, but I've gone through it. I mean, people can only give you the tools if they've actually gone through it. Okay? We can read textbooks and we can do that, and that's great, but what I'm saying is that in order to understand the process, somebody had to have gone through it and been successful at it. And that's the key. And that's when I really listen to somebody. If somebody's, you know, a business person and they've created a business from scratch and no parent money, no nothing, and really did it and really was successful, that's the kind of person I want to learn from, right? If somebody's in a marriage and you see just the love and connection they have with their spouse and how amazing that is, and they've been married for 30 years and it seems to get better and better, that's somebody I want to take marriage advice from, right? So let's talk about, okay, so let's look at this. George has compiled some comments, and that's really good, man. Thanks. Yeah, good job. Okay, so I'm going to go down the row here, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, and please give us a like here and comment here and tell us what you like and what, you know, hopefully what you like, not what you dislike, but God bless. You know, it is what it is. Scott. Okay, so Scott makes a comment and asks a question. You just spoke on how I self-sabotage. I gave my life away to my wife, trying to help her, trying to give her solutions, trying to make the marriage work. When she was dealing with so many personal problems that I couldn't change for her, which ultimately became a roadblock in our marriage, which left me lost, abandoned, and isolated. How do I let go of hope and move on? Ooh, that's a big one. I've done a few videos on the false hope too. The thing is that we can't change someone else, no matter how much we want. Okay, the thing is that we can lead them to water, but we can't make them drink the water, right? They have to be willing to make the changes in their own life. And I've realized that a lot of times when somebody needs to make changes and we're right there in there, we're right with them, we're basically allowing them to continue to stay status quo, okay? Because we're not being right to ourselves. And I'm not saying that everybody needs to break up all over the country when people are doing not living their true life. But I'm saying we got to sit there and say, hey, how much of this can I handle? How much of this is mine to handle? And also, we've got to go to them and say, hey, I love you and I care about you, but you've got to take care of you. And you've got to do the appropriate, responsible things to take care of you. Okay? And that's what's so sad about it. And I give it to you. I mean, that's what's so sad is that when somebody is not taking the steps to better themselves, not taking the steps to get help, to get treatment, that's what's challenging. But we can't make them do it. But the one thing we can do is decide what we're going to do. And we have to make the choice to basically safeguard ourselves and really start figuring out how to live our own life, right? Because it's not fair to be sidled up with somebody that's not willing to do the work, right? It's not willing to do the work. It's not fair. And so when it comes to letting go of that hope and moving on, you just got to sit there and not have regret. You know, one of the things that I've realized in these relationships and with people in general when I work with clients, I say, you got to look at them as a friend. Okay, stop looking at her as a wife. Look at her as a friend. We let our friends get away with some crazy stuff, right? But try to be there for her as a friend. But also, remember, you need to be a friend to yourself too. And you giving everything to them and losing your identity is not fulfilling your obligation on this planet. Okay? So probably she needs to get help, and probably you need to step back and work on that codependency, and you need to start finding yourself as to why you were in this relationship as long as you were. And that's something that I work with many clients to do, and we do it very effectively, and we do it as quickly as possible because we have this life to live, and I know that you probably feel in your heart that you haven't lived the amount you want to and done what you want. And those are the things that need to be done, and I care about each individual on this planet, and I think you have the right to pursue your own happiness. I found also that people can make changes. And as long as you're there, as far as, hey, I'm there for you as a friend, I'm there for you as feedback. Yes, you're my wife, but I'm going to take, and mentally take an emotional step backwards, kind of away from the situation and kind of analyze it. But also, don't say anything that you're going to regret. Be there positively, but also self-protect yourself, taking some distance, maybe a separation as possible, and really getting to know who you are and finding your value and giving her the tools and knowledge and letting her know that you expect certain things and you hope that she'll do that. But again, we can't twist someone's arm. I hope that's helped you, Scott. Thank you so much for reaching out. Robert, oh, okay, so Robert says, thank you so much, Ashley Burgess. You helped me so much. Holy hand grenade Batman. Awesome. Thank you, Robert. Yeah, it's one of my favorite sayings, by the way. I love that. It's one of my favorite things. I mean, who doesn't want to be a superhero? Hilder 2. Damn, you're good. I love that. Wow. Yes. Y'all both get gold stars today. Okay. Well, all three of you do. All three of you do. Zen and me, I quit drinking. 3 years ago, got clarity back and realized how screwed up things are and why I use alcohol to numb it. Now I'm trying to find me, and it's daunting this far. Okay, definitely Zen and me, it is hard. When we're trying to find ourselves, it's really hard. We've been avoiding finding ourselves our whole life. Now we're going to do something new like that. Now we're going to do something big and bold like that. That's bold stuff, right? I mean, that's like, yeah, I'm going to go paint the lights fantastic. I'm going to go do this, and I have never done it before. Yeah, it's going to be hard. But I want you to think about it. The hardest things, the things that seemed hard in the beginning that we actually set foot and we said, you know what, each day I'm going to do one little thing to get closer to it. Like when you quit drinking, you didn't sit there and say, I'm going to quit drinking for the rest of my life. Okay, I'm sure you didn't because you said you're sober now, because people that say that don't stay sober very long, right? Because it's too overwhelming, it's too daunting. You say, I'm not going to drink this hour. I'm not going to drink today. I'm not going to drink tomorrow, right? That's the way that we do it. That's the way that AA works. That's the way that this all works, right? Smoking cigarettes, same thing. I'm not going to smoke today, right? And what I'm saying is that I want you to think about that, Zen and me, and say, you know what can I do today to make myself more powerful? What can I do today to get to know myself? And what you can do today is be aware of your actions and choices on your self-sabotaging behavior. Every single choice you make today and tomorrow, I want you to think about it, whether it's ordering food, whether it's picking up the phone and calling somebody or going out with somebody. I want you to think about the choices you made and the actions and get to know what you're doing. Because this is going to open your mind into your psyche of what's happening, because we need to know, psychologically speaking, what you're thinking about, and we need to go into that negative broken record. And we can assimilate that and figure that out really quick once we know what your self-sabotaging behaviors are like, okay? And so you can start recognizing this, what you eat, what you choose, who you call, what you're doing, the choices you make. You recognize all that. You chose to stop drinking. That's a great one. But now let's look at those other smaller self-sabotaging behaviors. And this is one thing that you can begin to do today, tomorrow, the next day, this week, that's going to help you to begin to what? Find you. Okay? And I got more where that came from. That's what I do with people. I help them find themselves, right? I help them. That's why I say live your true life, your true identity. That's what I talk about. So that's the same thing. So I look forward to hearing more from you, Zen and me. Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing more from Scott and Robert, Hilder, too, Zen and me. And now I have another Joe Word?
Yeah, there was one.
Okay, Joe, WGER. Thank you for reaching out. Friends that are facilitators want to drag you down to their level because they didn't want to see you get ahead. Got it. People can try to drag you down because they don't want to see you get ahead. And you got to be aware of who those people are. And you got to be aware that you don't need to be hanging out with those people. Okay, that's the key, is that they can try to pull us down all they want. And yes, there's some things that do happen in corporate America that are not cool. Okay, it really does happen. And you get some real sociopathic people in there in a place of power, and they decide that they're going to take you down, and they're just going to do it, right? Because that's just the way that they play. But when it comes to people that you have a chance of spending time with and not spending time with, let me tell you, that's self-sabotage in itself. So if you got people that are trying to take you down, cutting those ties directly reflects on you. So once you cut ties with people that try to take you down, that maximizes your power. And it makes you realize how much you can self-respect yourself, right? And it might be hard because you might know some of these people for a while, right? Some of these relationships go back to the beginning. That's why it's so hard. But they've been trying to pull you down the whole time. So if you feel like there's people around you that are trying to pull you down, I need you to recognize that and recognize your amount of choice with that and how much are you choosing to spend time with them, why are you spending time with them, and begin to let them go. Great comment, by the way. Hilder 2, what is that, for Phil quote? From Phil's quote?
Dr. Phil quote.
Oh, Dr. Phil quote. Choose the behavior, choose the consequences. He's not my fave, but that's a good statement. I like that. That's a great comment. Choose the behavior, choose the consequences. Yeah, you know, it's true. It's true. We got to choose it. And my thing is like, yeah, we can choose it, but it's great to know why. Right? Why we choose? That's the depth, right? That's the real enchilada, right? I think that's another thing he used to say, something like the whole enchilada. No, actually, that wasn't him. That was a Hayes House publisher, and I'm trying to think. Really nice guy, passed away, I think, a couple years ago. But anyway, I'll have to remember the name. But yeah, the whole enchilada. But he used to talk about the whole. But it wasn't Dr. Phil. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to put that in Dr. Phil's mouth. But yeah, this is a good thing. We have to be aware of that. We make our choices and we live with them. But better yet, why did I choose it? I mean, you get really real with it. Why did I choose it? Now let's really talk about that, right? That's a great comment. Love that and love the quote. Rick, question. After being in a 7-year relationship with a borderline, I found procrastination on my end to be a significant problem. Is this common in my case? Well, you mean to stay in the relationship? Is it common to procrastinate? Is it common to not want to see the real issue? Is it common to not really want to deal with it? Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's common. This is very normal, procrastination, because you're procrastinating because of the false hope. You're procrastinating because you hope it's going to get better. You're procrastinating because the times when there was love bombing, and in the beginning when the love bombing was great because you were getting all this attention and they made you feel really good, you'd like it to go back there. And we're holding out, please, I want to go back there, even though we might consciously not realize that's what we're doing. So I think that a lot of times we procrastinate because we hope we can just wait it out and that things are going to get good. You know, things are about to get good. Things are about to get good. You know what I mean? And we keep waiting it out and procrastinating, moving in the relationship because we're holding out for that false hope. And I really think that that's what you're talking about, is that false hope. And many of us have it, and we've gone through it, and I've rehabilitated from that too a long time ago. And I understand holding out, thinking, well, if it can just get back to where it was, I'll just wait. I'm just going to avoid all this stuff. I'm just going to stick in here, you know, ups and downs, and I'm going to make it work. But the thing was is that that person was never getting help for themselves. And so I don't know what I was thinking I was doing, but I was thinking I was going to save the day. Right? And then part of it was ego because I didn't want to leave. And then the other part of it was the fact that I was hoping to have that experience back again because I got more attention than I'd ever gotten before. And then, you know, it's just, it is what it is. But I've realized that that procrastination is because we're procrastinating on being ourselves. We're procrastinating on moving on, defining ourselves. Because it's a lot easier to see other people's problems than our own because it's just easier to see them. But we don't realize that we also have issues too that we have to deal with because that's the reason why we're in that relationship, or we would have never chosen that relationship for our future, you know. But definitely, Rick, love it, love the question, love to help you in any way, shape, and form, and I appreciate that because that's something that a lot of people are going through. You know, that love bombing was addictive. Then you're holding out, waiting for it, and then there's ideas at the bottom. You said, what's that?
Oh, for us, somebody mentioned a future topic.
Oh, ideas, children of BPD parents.
Yeah.
BPD moms.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I actually could do a lot of video content on that.
Yeah.
That's
do y'all want to see it?
Yeah, would y'all like to see video content on being a child of a BPD mom? Being a child of a BPD dad?
Right.
I could do so much content on that. Whoa. I know that inside and out, inside and out, inside and out. And, you know, it's, yeah, it would be great. I'm up for that. So if y'all want to see that, let us know here in the comment section here on the live chat, and then later on in the comment section if you're watching it when it's not live. We have a video dropping here probably right about now. Yep. So after this, if you can just jump onto that other video, it's a real short video for anybody that's interested in BPD and codependency. Remember, when we're in relationships, if BPD with a BPD with a narcissist, or a BPD with a codependent. So we're talking about the BPD with the codependent and how to understand what that relationship looks like. Just kind of a bird's eye view into it. And I think you'll like it, and it's a good video if you're going through it. It'll probably affirm what you're dealing with and make you realize that you're not alone. Some of you might think that I'm in your house watching you, which that is not the case at all. Even though I've been told that a lot of the stuff is like I was inside their house at the moment during their life, and that's where I got the content. But no, I totally get it. I understand. And so anything that I can help you with as well. I also work with private clients during the week. And so I work with clients all over the world. Have a little trouble in certain time zones just because of trying to figure it out, but I work with clients all the way to Australia. So New Zealand, Australia, London, England, everywhere, United States, obviously, Canada, even in Mexico. So let me know if there's something you're interested in. Skype, FaceTime, phone as well, and then also here in person. Some people actually come to my office here in person, which is nice. It's not as many, but it's kind of cool too. So anyway, I help folks find their true life and find themselves outside of these codependent relationships, outside of these relationships, and outside of the self-sabotaging behavior, and the list goes on. So I hope this has helped you. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps us to understand that we are on target and we keep working to create content to make your life easier, to make your life better. And I definitely care about each and every one of you, and I appreciate you watching because your life matters and your happiness matters. So I hope this video has helped you. Check out the video that is just launching right now. I hope to get some great feedback on that. Love to hear what you have to say. And myself, Ashley Berges, and George Sanchez and I will be heading out today. We got this video coming up, and let us know how you think about it. And guess what? I guess I'll be back this time in 2 shakes, but oh no, that's not true. I'll be back in 3 shakes. Yeah, no, that comes from my radio show. I've been doing this for 8 years on the radio. But by the way, I forgot to tell you, don't forget to live your true life. Thanks, guys. Bye.